Okay, so here I am, I'm back, and I'm doing the Cubase tutorial. So this tutorial is strictly for Cubase users who have a DM3200 or 4800. Now, my disclaimer, I'm doing this on Cubase 6, works fine for me, I don't know about everybody else. This is not about 6.5, 7, 7.5, but I am sure that the MIDI setup and everything in there is still the same. Also, whatever works on Cubase will pretty much work with anything else. Pro Tools is very specific and it's different. But this is only about Cubase. I also did the same exact thing with Ableton and it works fine, but I'm not going to do an Ableton video. This is basically about MIDI Learn and they all do that. The other thing is I am not doing anything about Sonar, Reaper, Studio One, anything else that you guys use. This is strictly for people asking about Cubase. The Pro Tools one was done, and so now we're going to do Cubase. Okay? So the same things still apply. The MIDI controller, the MIDI mixer, and the 16 MIDI faders only come out the back of the console MIDI out. Again, if you have a Firewire card that has the MIDI in, take the MIDI out from the back of your console and go into the MIDI in of the Firewire card, which goes to the computer, and you will have the same results that I'm having. I go a little bit longer way because I have a MIDI merge box and a MIDI splitter kind of down there with the MTPAV, the MIDI timepiece by Motu, but it's the same principle. I just have a lot of MIDI gear. Okay? Now, the other thing too is you're going to see the Firewire card listed as a MIDI input. That's getting the signal from the MIDI out of the back of the console. If you don't want to do it that way, then just get a MIDI to USB converter and you'll be good. Okay, so let's get started. So here I am. And again, I'm just showing you that I'm doing the same thing. See, so we're moving on the screen, so everything is happening there. Okay, move that down there. I'm not going to record any audio because that's not what you're asking for. You're really just asking about how to automate things with the console. So I have the console set up like everybody else does, which is with the Mackie control, 24 faders and stuff like that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to start off with the 16 MIDI faders. Those things are really cool. Okay, so I'm just going to put them down to nothing here. Now remember, these are only 16 faders. So each fader is one MIDI channel. So MIDI channel 1, MIDI channel 2, 3, 4, and so forth. But they all have one MIDI continuous controller. Right now I have this set to 2. So let's go in and MIDI learn the 16 MIDI faders. So we're going to do this. Device setup. Now, I'm going to start over from here so I can show you a couple of things. So I'm going to add a generic remote. The first thing that comes up, as you can see, is the quick controls, The quick controls are these little boxes over here where you could just, like they say, quickly assign something to something. As you can see here, I have the Firewire card MIDI port, which is receiving the MIDI out from the back of the console. It's already set up on MIDI 2. So I told you I continuous controller 2. So I'm going to change this to, I'm just going to change it to 11. You like that, guys? Okay, anyway. So this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to click on it, hit learn, move a fader. Oh, first I'm going to hit this. I'm going to click on that. Move a fader, and you see it changes to 11. Arrow down. Using the arrow down, definitely make sure that you don't use the same fader twice. I'm only going to use those faders. Okay? And then I'm going to name them. Now this is going to be great. I'm going to name them. This is going to be for my EQ test. EQ test demo. All right, now you see that. Now, this is going to be awesome. Watch this. I'm adding another quick control, and look, 9. So I'll add an, but I'm going to delete that because I want to use that later. I just want you to see that you can add more than one quick control, but 8 is going to be what we're going to use. Then the next thing you do is you export it. So right here I have it. I have one saved because I just wanted to test it out. EQ1. So every time I want to use my EQ, I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to import that and then use that because I have it already set. Okay? And then down here, you can change where you want it to go. Now, I'm going to leave this. I'm going to show you what this does on something else. I'm going to apply it, hit OK. First thing I'm going to do, somebody had asked on the forum about they want to use the EQ to do all this stuff. So I'm going to bring all this down again. I'm going to automate the EQ here. I'm going to turn them all on. Now watch this. This is going to be great. I'm going to MIDI learn. This is where the quick controls are. This is where the inspector is. I'm going to MIDI learn. So I'm going to click on there. Watch this. Click here. Shows up there. Shows up here. Then I'm going to move a fader. Boom. Just like that. I'm here. Arrow down. Now you're going to see, you're going to get a list, but I like to do the arrow down. See, because when you do it this way, right? And then you click on the next thing, it just does it automatically. Then you arrow down, and I'm going to go to the next EQ. See? Automatic. Arrow down to the next field, automatic. Oops, Bad Jackson. Let me go back up. So this is the gain, and then I didn't click on this good enough. There's the frequency. There you go. Okay? And I'm going to keep going. So 3, gain, boom. Arrow down, frequency, boom. Its own thing. And then arrow down, finally. Gain, arrow down, finally. Okay? Nice. So now, I can take off my MIDI learn there. And look at this. I have all the EQ control. Look at that. So 1, here's my frequency over 1, and here's my gain. Here's my gain on 2. Here's my frequency over here. Right? Here is 3 in my frequency. And here's 4 in my frequency. Just like that. And of course, those are completely automated. Just put the lane in, the channel you want, and then just hit right, and you're good to go. Okay? So that's using the auto latch. That's using the quick controls. I can, which is one of these things I love about Cubase. Here's my channel. I'm going to copy and then paste this channel kind of settings over here. And so now all I have to do is go and just kind of reset by the knobs by just going, like I don't have to click over here anymore. So all I have to do is MIDI learn over here like that. See? Oh, I actually do have to click over here. Okay. So I have to do that, but I don't have to do anything else. See? Oh, I'm sorry. Always do that arrow down. That's really important. Oh, God. You guys know what I mean. There you go. And then arrow down. Because you don't need to do anything again. You might as well just set it. But you guys get what I mean. So you can just kind of copy what you're doing there. Okay. So that is the quick controls. So those are the first 8 channels of my 16 MIDI faders. So now I'm going to take the remaining 8 channels that I have left, and I'm going to apply them to an insert plugin. However you want to do this, it's going to work. Whether you do it on the sends, whether you do it on, whatever you're trying to do. So here I'm going to try one. This is going to be a third-party plugin, something I really love, this thing called Etch by F Expansion. Though it has a MIDI learn on here, it's just not giving me the love. See? And you could see my MIDI meter kind of thing going up. It's just not letting me do my thing. So not to be frustrated, because I love this product, I'm going to go back to devices. Now watch this. I'm going to go and add, here we go. I'm going to go and add another generic remote. Okay. And then I'm going to make sure that it's coming from my Firewire port. Okay. And I'm going to MIDI learn these remaining faders. So 9 through 16, you're going to see in this area here, you're going to see 9 through 16, and they're going to start saying 11, okay? Same thing, clicked on there, okay? Now, once again, let me get this, okay. And then my MIDI learn, oh, apply, sorry. Ah, here we go. So, 9, 10, same thing. They all change it to 11 because that's what I have in the MIDI faders as my one and only thing. So I'm going to export. This is going to be my etch remote. I already had one saved because I just wanted to start over so you guys would see it. Overwrite. Now, and here I have an etch remote again. Here's the big secret. You need to, like, what's the best way to say it? You need to name things. So I'm going to control filter frequency 1. Not filter Greg, filter frequency. And then this one, I'm going to go filter resonance. Filter res 1. Okay. And then the same thing. I'm going to do filter frequency 2. And then filter res 2. Magic. Boom, 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 boom. Just change. It just changed the names. Now, I'm going to say on the TASCAM channel, see, these are all the channels I have that are actually in the program. TASCAM channel 1, insert, etch, filter frequency 1. TASCAM 1, etch, filter frequency, res. TASCAM 1, right? I'm going to change the TASCAM 1, right? Because that's the thing that I'm in, etch, and 2, and the same thing. However you want to set it up is how you set it up, but this is how I'm doing it just to show you the demo here. Res. Apply. Boom. Now what do I have? These two. Look at that. Independent. Oops. So 1, filter frequency 1. Awesome. And then, look at that. The first ones I have, oh wait, this is great. I'm going to show you this. So, see, look, completely independent. Has nothing to do with the other. Look, I'm just moving stuff around. This is on the console in the 16 MIDI faders. MIDI out the back of the console. Completely dedicated. Boom. And I still have 4 left. So that is that. Now we're going to move on to our mysterious friend. So I'm just showing the MIDI faders. The MIDI mixer works the same way. The MIDI controllers works the same way. All you got to do is just designate and so forth. So you've got 16 here. In the MIDI mixer, you have 48. 48. So right there between the 16 here, the 24 faders in the MIDI mixer, and then the 24 pan controls in the MIDI mixer, right? 64 control surfaces. You're done, okay? If you can't get it done with that, man, I'm serious. Or person, whoever you are. Look at that, love that. Okay, so now we're going to go to the user-defined layer. Okay, remember, The user-defined layer should be empty channels that have nothing going on there, no volume, nothing. They should be blank and empty because you're using an empty layer because you're just sending out MIDI messages. These two are 48 channels. I'm going to bring in one more plugin, and I'm going to bring in a reverb plugin. And I'm bringing it in the same channel, you know, in the same track. And then I'm going to go back to devices. Okay. Now look, I've got your generic remote 2. I'm going to add another one, generic remote 3. But this one's going to be strictly for my user-defined layer, MIDI 4. Remember we talked about that before in the other video. Okay? And so I know for a fact that, so I have it kind of set there. So I had already set my control mix to respond to these channels. So my faders are going to respond to, the first 8 are going to respond to 9, and then the remaining 16 are going to respond to 12. So what are we going to do? Fader 1, you're going to click on it, MIDI learn. Look at that, 9. Right? Just go down. Just keep doing it. All you're doing is telling it what to do. Now, I'm on here, and then this is already set up for 12, so this is not going to really change. But you'll see, so it says MIDI channel 1, 2, and they're all going to just go down through 12. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm still going. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now, what you saw was I just kept going, right, from 16 faders, but I could essentially change that, right? So watch, instead of using, because it went to pan, I only had 16 faders, but I've got 24, so I can use this for something else. But let me change all that to the pan knobs, right? So look, my pans are set on 14, so I'm going to go down. 1, boom. Because I want to use the pans. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now I have that. How cool is that? So, and again, you should really name whatever you think you're going to be using them for. So I've got 16 faders and 16 pans. So I essentially have this. You can add 8 more faders. You can add 8 more pans. Okay? All right, because you see the button there. First thing you're going to do, export. And I'm going to call this, like I have here, reverb. Okay. Now, you can change the name, like I think you should. But here, the device I'm going to target is the VST mixer, and it's on track number 1, TASCAM 1, and here's the RoomWorks thing. So I'm going to change this. You want to move it out of the way. What I want to do is I want to do this whole bottom line right here. Pre-delay, time, size, diffusion, and width. Okay? So here we go. I'm going to do those with the pans. Insert, right? Look at that. The second insert. Pre-delay. Right? And what did I say again? Pre-delay, time. That's the other one. Pre-delay, time, size. Look. Change it to TASCAM 1, the track that it's on. Change it to the insert, which is that. And then size. And diffusion and width. See? Because you're targeting just that track. Let's see. Was it size? Oh, diffusion. Sorry, diffusion. If I can find it. Don't get mad if I don't find it right away. It's always here somewhere. Oh, diffusion. One more. And width. Okay. Roomworks. And come on now. Width. Apply. I've already called it reverb. It's already set up. But you saw how I went there and changed it. So now you would go through the remaining ones. That's why you should add more faders and stuff like that and hit OK. So now, okay. And so now I have my user-defined layer. Oh, let me go back there. Hold on a second. Okay. So I have my little thing set up, right? So I think it's looking for my fader to move, to do something. Yeah. Okay. So I set it on faders. I didn't set it on the pans, right? Okay. But you see, look at that. I'm even controlling it this way. Look at that. Come on. Can't get sexier than that. Pre-delay. Let me go back there and fix it. I really want to show you how the pan works. Okay. So what I should do here, I don't want to mess that up. So I'm going to say not assigned, right? And I'll get that, not assigned. But I really want to put those on the pan, see? So 1, I'll go back and do the same things. If I can remember, of course I cannot for some reason. Okay, pre-delay, time, size, diffusion. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. I know this is horrible for you to watch. Pre-delay, 1. See, but this is how you should really see yourself doing it anyway. Okay. Time, 1. Size, diffusion, and width. That's what I remember. Diffusion was down here somewhere. And same thing, 1, width. Right there. Apply. So now I'm better. See? Pan knob working. Reverb time, size, diffusion, and width. Pretty darn awesome. So the quick and dirty is that's how you do it. You just assign, okay? So as many faders as you have, you put in that screen the amount of faders that you're using, okay? It's just really that simple. And then here you go. So I have some more channels left here. I'm going to go to another track and I'm going to add another plugin. I have like this Native Instruments Solid EQ. Pretty cool. Same thing. I'm going to go into my devices and I'm going to tell it that I'm going to go to VST Mixer. I'm going to go to TASCAM 2. And then it's going to find the insert, the solid EQ, and then I'm just going to move some things that I know are going to move, which is low frequency gain, VST mixer. And again, this would be something you can have as a template. It would be great. And then solid EQ, and then maybe that. Okay. I'll do one more. Mixer. Boom. Solid EQ. Frequency. Okay. And then, I'll go back to reverb. But it holds it. And so I'm going to say apply. Boom. So whatever I did, okay, let's see. There you go. So I must have touched something. So, but I'm sure you guys get the deal here. Oh, again, see, look, MIDI learn, boom. Okay, so now we're talking. Okay, apply. Oh, don't forget export. So look, I'm going to save this as, I'm going to call it solid EQ. So you could do a whole bunch of stuff here. Solid. Apply. Boom. There you go. And there you go, down here. And again, completely independent of each other and stuff. And this is what's great. Then I will go back, right? I'll go back to here. Even though I'm doing that, when I go to RoomWorks, so now I'm on, so it doesn't matter, because what I'm saying is that here's the second track. I'm not on there, it's just doing that, but I'm selecting the first track. But here is the reverb, completely, you see my knobs moving, but here's the reverb, see, completely separate, just like a good controller should be. All that stuff. And I'm moving that knob, and then, but this is all in the same user-defined layer, USB only, okay? Looks like a lot of work, but it's just a setup kind of thing, okay? Everything I said in the Cubase video still applies, meaning you have to set everything up in the control mixer for the user-defined layer, but it's only USB, and just make sure that in Cubase you have separate MIDI channels, 1 through 8, then 1 through 16, so you can have 24 faders and 24 pans, but separate MIDI channels, but they can all have the same MIDI message, which is better than it works better here than it does in Pro Tools. I am done. That's a lot of work, and I hope you guys get it. Any questions you have, just ask them on the forum, because I think I've explained everything pretty good. You saw me go back and forth, even when I didn't have something set right, so you could see it again. Just rewind it and look at it. You're good to go. See y'all.